digging into the future. We're excited tonight to have David Lassner joining us, the University of Hawaii president, former CIO of the University of Hawaii, and one of our former chairmen of the PTC. So a very distinguished gentleman, one of the few, I think, that knows the history of this great conference that we've had, and one of the great thinkers in our industry for the last 20 years, in addition to being a head of a university. So very, very excited to have David here joining us today to have a chat.
Glad to be here with you, Bill.
So David, tell us, University of Hawaii, you're kind of at the center of the Pacific right now. What's the latest? What do you see as the role of the University of Hawaii in the ICT revolution that's going on around us? Are you involved in all this? Is it getting all the way out here to the islands?
Yeah, it gets all the way out here and beyond. So the University of Hawaii is really the premier research institution in the Pacific. There are some other universities, but we're the big time research institution with a really a storied history from the Aloha Net, which was the research at the University of Hawaii that the technologies that underlie the Ethernet and most wireless communication, the first internet connections into most of Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Korea, literally built with US government support and partnerships in the region out of the University of Hawaii. So we've been at this for a long time, as well as the work founding. Some of our people were founding conferences like PTC. Today, I think we're looking to our role here to really serve as a partner in the Pacific and leverage our capacity as the major educational institution in the region, both from a research perspective and not just ICTs, but things like climate change. We know as much about climate change and impact on islands as anybody in the world. And the Pacific is the front lines for all of that. And now we're watching, the geopolitical importance of the Pacific is really increasing. We're seeing the investment, and you're close to this, I know, of all of the new fiber projects in the Pacific. When I was on the board of PTC with you, there was Guam. That was about it. And now pretty much everywhere.
No, so talk to me a little bit about the research, because something you and I have talked about in the past, and you were always a big advocate, was PTC was always a big, we would bring in researchers, and it was a large portion of our conference. And I think 20 years ago, a lot of the research that came into our industry came from universities. Is it still that way today, or do you think it's sort of changing? Is it actually the private sector that's doing it, or what's going on there?
There's both, but I think the private sector has definitely stepped up much, much more. So where a lot of that basic research was all coming out of universities or government labs back in the day, industry's definitely spending more money, and especially the industries that have large amounts of capital available, the most successful ones are investing either in their own labs or in universities that are doing research that they believe will help them advance as well. One of the cool things about PTC is the way it brings together those communities.
Yeah, no, I think it's almost like there seems to be a resurgence a little bit right now coming back. Yep. For the first time. We felt that this year there's a lot more excitement about, and I think it may be artificial intelligence, machine learning, sort of some of the new tech buzzwords, but there's no real model yet, right? And I think that's why I think people are curious right now for the first time again.
I think that's right, and PTC, I've been off the board now for well over 10 years. But I think PTC has done a really good job, as it's found its financial footing of investing in these kinds of activities that bring people together.
Yeah, no, I think it's fascinating. I think one of the other things that I'd love to hear your perspective, obviously, this year we're going to have a lot of folks from the United States government here. And there's a lot going on between whether you call it U.S. and China, or and how do you see that affecting here? Does that actually
Absolutely.
Coming into Hawaii, and do you feel that there's sort of a kind of two worlds out there that are sort of competing in Asia right now, or is
I think that's absolutely right. When I travel in the Pacific, which I don't do a whole lot, but you can sort of tell the alignment of the place from where the investment is coming from. My take is that the U.S. government walked away from the Pacific for many, many years, and China saw that opportunity. And as the U.S. has come back, very visible, vocal investing, and I think that's a lot of what we're seeing now is a recognition this is a really critical region, geopolitically, economically, and that investment in these places that I thought I would not see fiber in my lifetime, that's co-investment of the U.S., Australia, and others who are really interested in the alignment.
Yeah, no, I think we're hearing, multiple cables coming into the region, actually now going into all the
little places.
Yeah, the little places
now,
which is
that's right. Yeah.
Which, for many of us, we didn't think we would.
Exactly.
It would be a long time. It was going to be a satellite country for
forever.
Yep. No, I think now talk to me about, because one of the things that you did and I always thought was fascinating was you were also a CIO, right? And so put your former CIO hat on. How do you see just watching what's happening in not only in the region but in the industry? With cloud and things like that.
So it's super interesting. So I'm the CIO for the university, least connected to the rest of the United States, right?
Yeah.
So I'm watching the importance of connectivity to universities to support our research, to support our educational mission, to support everything we do. And I'm in a place that, we went through kind of a starvation period in Hawaii from being the hub of the Pacific to bypassed for a long time until Southern Cross came in and Japan US came in that period. But it's interesting because I was connected to PTC first academically by faculty I worked with. I got my PhD at the University of Hawaii, and some of my mentors and faculty leaders were some of the people who founded and led PTC through the early days. And what I found was more than the academic papers for me was finding out how the industry works. And I leveraged the relationships and the lessons of PTC to help keep the University of Hawaii, and in many ways Hawaii, connected to the world. I think as a CIO, I believe I was the first university to buy an IRU on a fiber system when people in academia didn't know what an IRU was. Yeah. And I had to explain it.
Yeah.
And I learned all that at PTC that helped me do my job and serve my university.
Let's flash back just to digress a little bit. Let's talk about you and I when we started at the PTC in the early days. We had, this conference, we probably could have flipped a coin, and there's a good chance that it could have gone bust, right, in 2000, right around the...
my take when I was the chair in that period, and we had declining attendance, eating into reserves. I thought we were one bad conference from closing down. And fortunately, that year, the economy came back and we made some smart moves and started the path back to recovery.
One of the goals of PTC going forward is really trying to look at how do we stay relevant in the future, and how do we actually bring back great academics, great speakers, great thinkers to really have a dialogue here. What in your view would be the way that we would actually do that to try and build that sort of that energy and people coming to see and learn?
So, I think some of the enthusiasm, we talked beforehand about doing like a Shark Tank type event. That's something that can draw everybody, right? Academics want to know what's hot, because that helps them understand what should they be following and paying attention to and researching, frankly. And they want to know, what does a CEO think the problems are that academics can go back and think about and try to address, both technical and policy-wise and regulatory and those sorts of things. For what I do now, I think about the future all the time, and I think the future, I have more hair than you, but mine is grayer. So, it cuts both ways, but we got to be thinking about the people who have full heads of original hair and, in their 20s who are, what are they going to be doing, and how do we connect them to this really interesting and important ecosystem that we created?
Well, David, thanks a lot for taking the time to see us. I know you've got a busy schedule this time of year.
It's wonderful to see you, and look forward to catching up more over the next couple of days.
Thank you. That was David Lassner joining us from PTC and Digging into the Future.